Coco Gauff's outburst at her coach raises concerns as former American pros discuss whether she is struggling. Coco Gauff's run to the semi-finals at the 2026 Dubai Tennis Championships sparked debate, but former American pros John Isner and Steve Johnson are not buying the idea that she is in crisis. On the latest episode of the Nothing Major podcast, the pair pushed back on claims that the world number 4 is struggling, even as they acknowledged the visible frustration that boiled over during her loss to Alina Svitolina. What did John Isner and Steve Johnson make of Coco Gauff's on-court outburst? On the Nothing Major podcast, Isner acknowledged the issue, but urged perspective. It was a good result, but she struggled in the semi-final again and was having issues with her serve. So, yes, obviously we know she just needs to shore up that one part of her game, because the rest of her game is just ridiculously rock solid, Isner said. He added that Gauff's ambitions go beyond semi-final finishes. I don't think if you were to tell her, "Oh, you can make semi-finals at the beginning of the tournament," I don't think she'd take that, right? She'd want to take the title there. But I think she's still trending in the right direction for someone of her caliber. People are saying she's struggling. I don't see it that way. I think she's getting closer to her top level. Johnson focused more on the in-match exchange. I mean, she did have a bit of a jaw with her coach, Gavin McMillan, the serve specialist that she brought in before the Open. So, that's not a good sign, Johnson said. Reflecting on the moment, he added, "In the middle of the match, it looked like she was saying, 'I've done everything you've asked and I'm still serving like this,' something along those lines. That's not what you want to be saying." Johnson drew from personal experience. "Look, I said that a lot to my coaches. Why am I playing so bad? But that was more of a me issue. She's much better than me, and she wins a lot more than me, and she's way more successful. So you would expect her not to have those types of in-match meltdowns. But it's something to watch. Maybe we'll see if it's not working out with Gavin, and the serve's not getting there." Gauff's serve struggles take center stage in Dubai. The conversation follows a dramatic week in Dubai that put Gauff's serve under the microscope. Entering as the third seed, she received a first-round bye and opened with a steady 6-4 win over Anna Kalinskaya. In her third-round match against Elise Mertens, she saved 3 match points to prevail 2-6, 7-6, 9, 6-3, despite serving 16 double faults and committing 63 unforced errors. She rebounded emphatically in the quarterfinals, dispatching Alexandra Ela 6-0, 6-2 in just over an hour. The semi-final against 7-seeded Svitolina stretched to nearly 3 hours, with the Ukrainian ultimately winning 6-4, 6-7, 13, 6-4. The second set tiebreak, which Gauff claimed 15-13 after saving 4 match points, was the longest on the WTA Tour in 2026. The American struck 12 double faults that night, continuing a troubling pattern from earlier in the week. Midway through the second set at 3-3, 15-15, another double fault triggered a visible outburst. Microphones caught Gauff directing her frustration toward her coaching box, specifically biomechanics coach Gavin McMillan. "I've been doing everything you've wanted for the last 6 months," she shouted. McMillan, hired in August 2025 ahead of the US Open, was brought in to reshape her service motion and stabilize her forehand. He previously helped rebuild Aryna Sabalenka's serve. Gauff is set to compete next at the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, scheduled for March 4th to 15th. Fire Coco Gauff's emotional outburst, more than just a moment. In late February 2026, at the Dubai Tennis Championships, the tennis world paused, not for a blistering winner or a record-breaking ace, but for an emotional flashpoint. Coco Gauff, one of the brightest stars in women's tennis and currently one of the top-ranked players on the WTA Tour, startled fans, pundits, and media alike with a very public expression of frustration directed toward her coach during a tense semi-final match. What began as a competitive contest against Alina Svitolina, a 3-hour, edge-of-the-seat duel, soon shifted to focus on a raw emotional moment that begged the question, is Coco Gauff struggling, or is this just a young champion experiencing growing pains? Tennis, the match that magnified more than scores. Gauff entered the Dubai tournament as one of the favorites, boasting a world number 4 ranking and expectations befitting her elite status. After advancing through tough matches, including saving multiple match points against Elise Mertens, she faced Svitolina in a marathon semifinal. But it was not just the tennis that caught attention. Midway through the second set, after yet another double fault, her 12th of the match, Gauff visibly snapped. Microphones picked up the exchange where she seemed to accuse her coach of a failed approach, saying roughly, "I've been doing everything you've wanted for the last 6 months," before adding, "And it's gotten not better at all, bro." Social platforms and media highlights exploded with a clip, quickly framing it as a focal point of debate. Was this merely frustration boiling over, or an indicator of deeper issues? Brain what the former pros are saying. In the wake of that moment, voices from across the tennis world weighed in, especially former American pros who know the grind at the highest level. Studio microphone John Isner, on the Nothing Major podcast, refused the narrative that Gauff is struggling in a broader sense. He pointed out that while aspects of her game, particularly the serve, have been inconsistent, her overall trend does not match someone in crisis. "She's still trending in the right direction for someone of her caliber," he said, adding that expectations for titles sometimes overshadow solid results. Studio microphone Steve Johnson, on the same podcast, focused more on the emotional exchange with her coach. He noted that every player gets frustrated, pro or amateur, but that a top player expressing such a conversation mid-match is unusual. "That's not what you want to be saying," he remarked, drawing on his own experience with on-court frustrations. Neither commentator painted Gauff as broken. Instead, they framed this incident as a gauge, not a verdict, on her journey. Bar chart the serve that stole the show. What's undeniable is that Gauff's serve has been a recurring talking point in 2026, and not in a good way. According to current statistics, she tops the WTA double fault chart, leading the tour in those unwanted free points given to opponents. This isn't just an isolated slump. It's a pattern that has extended across surfaces and tournaments, prompting her camp to bring in biomechanics coach Gavin McMillan last year to specifically work on her service mechanics. But it's hard to fix something technical and emotional at the same time, hence the mounting frustration. This serves as a backdrop to the Dubai moment. It wasn't just emotions flaring without reason. It was frustration from repeated struggles in a critical area of her game that she's investing immense effort to improve.